Play ball!
Welcome to It's Official, a podcast by officials for officials, coaches, parents, and athletes to better understand the official's role in sports. Brought to you by Smitty Sportswear, for more than 25 years being the place to go for officials gear and custom printing. Smitty Sportswear. This week's podcast, So You Want to Be an Official, with your hosts, Len Adolf and Jimmy Schultz. It's June 23rd, 2023. My name is Len Adolf. Welcome to It's Official, a podcast by officials for officials, coaches, parents, and athletes to better understand the relationship between officials and sports. On today's program, Jimmy Schultz and I are going to talk about So You Want to Be an Umpire. What does it take to be a male or female sports official? Confidence, focus, backbone, gotta have that, and knowledge. Now, most sports, for you guys on the high school level who want to get involved in officiating, you can't officiate on the high school level until you've graduated high school. However, there are many other youth leagues, rec leagues, club leagues, all age levels, all types of skills that you can hone your craft on that particular sport. Leagues are dying for officials. When we come back, Jimmy and I are going to talk about 3 different types of situations where we might come into contact with individuals who might be interested in officiating and how we're going to deal with them. We're going to hear from Smitty Sportswear. We'll be right back. Whether it's lacrosse, football, basketball, wrestling, soccer, or baseball, Smitty Sportswear has all the equipment every official needs to look professional and do their jobs on the field, on the court, and on the mat. Located in the Middletown area of Monmouth County, New Jersey, Smitty Sportswear has been for more than 25 years the place to go for officials gear. And here's something you may not know: working with businesses, groups, organizations, schools, and sports teams, Smitty's provides the perfect fundraising program. We've been doing it for years. T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, pants, bags, totes, blankets, beanies, scarves and hats, and baseball caps. If you can imagine it, we can make it happen. Online ordering is easy. Go to Smitty's, SMITTEEZ.com. Customer service is second to none. Smitty Sportswear, a proud sponsor of It's Official. We're back. With me is Jimmy Schultz. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, Len.
Hey, good to have you as always. Today, as you know, we're talking about So You Want to Be an Umpire. I've kind of broken it down into 3 distinct scenarios. Let's look at the first one, and I'm going to give you the example. I was at Montclair State doing a club collegiate wrestling match. At the table was a young guy, about 21, was a senior in college, came up to me and said, "I want to be an official." How do you handle that?
How do I handle it? Well, positive. You got to, positive reinforcement. You got to ask the basic questions. Can you handle a situation? So, maybe give a couple examples of situations you've lived through and how you approached it, and go from there.
Well, I'm also going to go from the official side. You need to know who your cadet supervisor is. Here in New Jersey, most of the NJSIAA programs have cadet programs, either a year or 2. Now, because they are in such dire need of officials, most cadet programs, including wrestling actually, are down to a 1-year cadet program. So from my point of view, I think it's important, number 1, to know who your chapter president is, depending upon, what association you're involved in, and to also make sure that you know who your cadet supervisor is, so you can direct that individual particular to that sport, and then those people know exactly how to hook them up. That's one of the things that I'll throw in.
That's in general, in life, you got to have connections. So knowing the right people to go to in whatever situation is what, makes you a productive person. So for New Jersey, we have a website, and on the website, they constantly update that with, the correct person to go to. For New Jersey, njwoa.net, I believe it is.
Yeah, I think
And
you're right. Yes.
there's a connection point right there. And what I normally do is I, ask, because I've done this before, Len, and I get the person's phone number, and I text them that link so they can, take that, the next step when they have the time.
So let's go to the next one. You walk into a match. You're the official at the game. When we do rec tournaments, there's always varsity kids sitting at the table, handling the score, handling the time, parents doing the same thing. I always find that that's a great opportunity to try and talk to people about officiating. Give me your thoughts about that.
On your off time, especially people working at a table are definitely involved in the sport. They probably played it or are still playing or they want to be involved. It could be a parent, or former or coach who said, I'm giving it up this year. I'm thinking about officiating, and you just make the connection.
Let's take the third situation. You start talking to somebody about officiating, and they tell you they have no interest for a couple of reasons. You didn't like the word nasty. I'll use the word unruly coaches, unruly parents, no confidence in their ability to make a call under a pressure situation, never played the sport, or something else. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, a lot of the answers I get from the people is they can't handle it. They ask me, how do I handle it? And to be honest with you, Len, I find as you progress in the years you've been involved in a sport, officiating, it makes you a better person. You're more confident, especially if you go on a job interview. You could bring that up. You know how to handle things. So,
well, when you're on the mat and 150, 200 people are watching you and you're the only one, I'm sure you would say the same thing. Nobody remembers all the good calls you made. They only remember the ones that you made that were bad. So,
I have a saying, that you're out in the mat or you're out in that field, that there's what you saw, there's what they saw, and there's what really happened. So, your angle of, let's say, a pitch, it was a little bit off, or they saw it, it was right down the zone, but your angle, you saw it was outside this much, and you've been calling it, right here, and now this one's here, and the coach, you go, where was it, coach? It was outside. Same thing with any sport. How did you see it? And the big thing about, a sport is, being in position to make the right call.
Do you feel more pressure yourself when you're in situations where you got a 3-2 pitch, 2 strikes, bases loaded? There's 30 seconds left in the wrestling match. They're standing. One of them's trying to get a takedown. They get a single leg, having the difficulty of knowing when to call the 2 for the takedown. Talk a little bit about that in your experience.
It's funny. You start a game, and you're nervous. You're nervous. So you started, and you're nervous. But as the game progresses or the match progresses, you get into a zone, and you just, you continue on, and then you get down to the last. Let's say a wrestling. You got 2 matches to go, and you know that, well, the duel is over because this team is winning by 20. But you got the wrestlers on the mat at the individual stage, so you still got to stay focused. And everybody wants you. Hey, the guy goes out there. It's an easy match. The guy's definitely better than the other guy, and he wins. Well, there's always that time where an upset can happen. So you got to be ready for, to make that call. Because in wrestling, the match ain't over. You could be, I've seen matches where kids winning by 12 points. He's ready to, get to tech fall, which is a 15-0 or 15 difference. And the kid does some kind of move. We saw it in the NCAA finals. Guy was losing. The guy from Lehigh, I forget his name. And everybody thinks, well, he went for it. He got the move, put him on his back, and pinned him. So, be ready at all times. And, stay in your zone. You get your zone. Hey, baseball, you get your zone. Different age groups, different zones because the kids can or can't pitch. But you get in that zone and just focus on that zone all the way through.
So that's fine. Let's do one more thing before we go to commercial. What's your pitch to get somebody to become an official?
I tell them, if you get involved and you build a relationship, I call it a brotherhood. In wrestling, it's very strong. I got friends like you, Len. I just met you, last year? So I have a whole brotherhood of wrestling officials that I'm very tight with. So it's like another family. So, I'm kind of starting to feel it with baseball. I sometimes I see the same umpire. We talk, and it's good to have that. So you want to, if you got the time, you got to make some extra money. You're gonna build your character, which will help you out in life. And 3, you got a brotherhood of family and friends. So that's what a pitch.
That's a good way to end it till we go into this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Right back.
The National Federation of State High School Associations has asked us to spread the word. Becoming a high school official is the easiest call you'll ever make. Officials protect the integrity of the games our kids love to play. You'll be a role model. It's a great way to stay in good physical condition. Hours are flexible. You'll earn extra income, and you'll expand your network of friends and have fun. For more information on becoming an official, go to nfhs.org. We're back. Finish up the show. It's official for episode number 2. Jimmy, you made a comment the last time about the money not being so great by the time you travel and by the time you get there and by the time you go back and you put gas in and time. I'm just going to take issue with one comment, and that would be to the young guys out there, the 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids, male and female, who can have an opportunity instead of making 15, 16 an hour going to work in a Walmart or at a 7-Eleven. Here's an opportunity for you to knock down somewhere between 25 and 30 an hour. So I think in that particular situation, maybe for you and I, it's not quite, as financially lucrative as it should be. For a young kid who's somewhere between 15 and 18, it's a great opportunity. That's what I wanted to ask you.
All right. Well, Len, you said 20 an hour. Yeah, that's for baseball. Wrestling, I've assigned roughly $50,000 worth of events in the past year. And being a data person, information technology, I've gathered all the numbers together. And with the average time, this includes travel, mat time, my guys are making $38 an hour. So
there you go.
Everybody wants to do something in their backyard where you don't have to no hour commute, back and forth. So as an assigner, I try to get the guys local, like you, Len, you're Hillsborough, New Jersey. I got some connections out there.
Sure.
I'll put you there or somewhere close, Flemington, which is not far. Why would I send you to Bergen County? Not that I got a connection there, but it doesn't make sense unless I think there's a need for you to be there. I wouldn't do it. So,
I just wanted to address the issue regarding money, because I don't want to discourage a young kid who has an opportunity to maybe make, a nice piece of change, whether it's wrestling or baseball.
Okay, so think about it this way. You got a full, you you're in school, you're in college, or you got a full-time job. You're doing 40 hours a week. Okay, that all goes in the bank. You're paying your bills, and you say, okay, let me do one baseball game Friday night. Well, baseball, depending, like 65, 75. I know you do the 9-inning games. They're paying $100 for the game. So you do one game. Well, now you start your weekend. That's $100. You say, okay, I can, take my girlfriend, my wife, kids out for dinner. So it's a little spare change to enjoy life. So you do 1 or 2 games if you want. Do more. Some of these guys are full-time professional. They're making, I know some guys are making upwards of $20,000 a year umpiring baseball games. Yep. So that's what you can make. So you take your regular job, you're making $50,000 a year or whatever it is. You throw another $20,000. You buy a car.
And hopefully you enjoy it as well, too. I mean, you and I do it not as much for the money, which is not bad, but certainly because we really enjoy being involved in the sport.
Correct. You got to enjoy the sport, but as you're doing it, you got to realize you're taking time away from your family, your friends. If you do a game Friday night and your friends are going out, okay, so you meet them at 9:00. There you go.
It's an early night. Well, Jimmy, we've hopefully encouraged a number of people who might be interested in listening to the podcast, maybe coming to us. Feel free to reach out to myself, to Jimmy.
Hey, for wrestling,
in the right direction.
Wrestling, njwoa.net. You got your information right there to get started.
It's always great having you, Jim. We're real happy to be here every week. You can find us on all different locations: Amazon, Castbox, Google, iHeart, Spotify. You can see the two of us on Spotify and YouTube. We're going to come back next week with another topic, hopefully with a couple of guests. It's official. We're really glad to have you, everybody. Hopefully, we're giving you the right information and we're encouraging you to get out and do the sport.
Be good.
Be good too. Take care.